So yes, I'm wearing the same thing I wore in the last video. I'm shooting all of these videos at once. My knee hurts. I gotta batch things to actually get them done now, so I hope you guys don't get mad at me for it. So what's up guys, I'm Adrian Thompson, your favorite crippled financial YouTuber, maybe your only one. And I started this channel, like I said in the last video, to force myself to learn about certain financial topics so I can therefore make my life better and teach you guys as I learn myself. So I've been really into retirements lately. Last video was about 401ks, and today we're gonna talk about IRAs. And if you haven't seen last week's video about 401ks, I suggest you go and watch that video first because I go into a deeper explanation about what a retirement account is altogether. So go ahead and watch that video and come back if you want to get more information about retirement accounts in general. But in short, and to summarize, a retirement account is basically you get a large sum of money, you invest it, and you live off the profits of the investment year to year. So the name of the IRA is actually significantly easier to explain the origin besides the 401k. It's just standing for individual retirement account. And just like the 401k, the IRA was put into the tax code in order to incentivize people to save money for retirement. So what that means is that you as an individual, hence the I in the IRA, has like a holding cell of investments and stocks that are taxed at an incentivized rate. So the R obviously stands for retirement. We all know what that is, but the A can stand for both accounts and arrangements. And arrangements would be like if you had property instead of stocks. Honestly, I don't know anything about that, so I'm not gonna touch that in this video. I might come around and look at the difference between arrangements versus accounts. But just like 401ks, you also have traditional and Roth IRAs. And to explain, a traditional IRA would be when you put in untaxed money, you let it grow, and then the money is taxed when you pull it out when you're older. A Roth IRA, which is the most common IRA, is actually when you put post-tax money in, so the money has already been taxed, so when you do pull it out when you're older, you don't have to pay any taxes on it. So the way this will look in practice is if you think you're going to be in a higher tax bracket when you're older, you're going to want to start a Roth IRA so you pay the lower taxes now, you let it grow tax-free, and then you don't pay taxes when you're older. If you think you're going to be in a lower tax bracket when you're older, which you might be since you won't be having an income, you actually want to do a traditional IRA, which is where you put in untaxed money, you let it grow, then you pay the lower taxes when you're older. IRAs also have a cap of $6,000, whereas 401ks have the cap of $19,500. So a traditional IRA actually has a cap of $6,000, but keep in mind, a Roth IRA also has a cap of $6,000, but you're going to be using post-tax money to fund a Roth IRA. So it will technically take more money to hit that cap as a Roth IRA than versus a traditional IRA. Just like 401ks, a Roth IRA, you will be penalized if you try to pull the money out before you retire at 59 and a half. So that's pretty much it with IRAs. They're relatively straightforward, just like the 401ks, and especially if you're watching this video after watching last week's video, a lot of it's going to sound pretty repetitive. So typically what you're generally going to see is that people have traditional 401ks and Roth IRAs. The reason being is that Roth 401ks aren't always offered, and at the same time, it's harder to hit that cap of $19,500 with post-tax money unless you're making a lot of money. But it's easier to hit the cap of $6,000 in an IRA or Roth IRA with post-tax money. That's why you generally see the split. It doesn't really make sense, but also doesn't really make that big of a difference. Either way, I want to point it out there that I am not a professional whatsoever, so I will always suggest that you go reach out to a professional in order to make your final decisions. My main focus on the past two videos is just so you take somebody who doesn't know anything about retirements and they can watch a 5 to 10 minute video and get the grasp of what is going on with their retirement accounts. You know, I always say, remember, it may be hard now, but it doesn't always have to be. Retirement accounts are the embodiment of that saying, so go ahead and get that started. I'll see you in the next one. Do